Yes, people. Welcome to the MANC Talk. We are live today with another video. And as you can see, we have a very, very special guest in the building. His name is John Salako, former Crystal Palace, Coventry, Bolton, and Charlton Athletic. Also played for England numerous times. John Salako, welcome to the MANC Talk.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
Good to have you with us, John, man. Good to have you with us.
Yep, absolutely. We also got Lewis in the building. Lewis, how are you, man? All blued out in the back, you know what I mean? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right, especially after watching you lot last night. David Silva coming back to haunt Old Trafford is what we love to see.
I know. He rolled back the years, man. Still a quality player, man. But no, listen, let's leave the Europa League chat for another time because...
Oh, you would say that, wouldn't you? After that.
He's going to be right up there. Greatest City player, David Silva.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. But yes, we have some breaking news, people. Like I said today, obviously after yesterday's passing of the Queen, the Premier League have announced that the Premier League will be postponed for this week's fixtures as a mark of respect for the Majesty the Queen. As at a meeting this morning, the Premier League wrote a statement. They said the Premier League clubs pay tribute to Her Majesty the Queen to honour her extraordinary life and contribution to the nation. As a mark of respect, this week's Premier League match round will be postponed, including Monday evening's game. Further updates regarding Premier League fixtures during the period of mourning will be provided in due course. John, I want to get your immediate kind of reaction to this. Just in general, obviously, your respects to the Queen, etc., etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Shocked and devastated, really, to have lost the Queen. She was just the most incredible, iconic leader, statesman, monarch. Worldwide, she was loved throughout the Commonwealth, and it's just incredible. I mean, it's still very hard to believe that she's gone, but she couldn't stay with us forever. But just an incredible life of service and duty. With dignity, charm, grace, and above all, just utter class and what she brought to the whole world. I think Macron summed it up. She said, she's your queen, but to the rest of the world, she's the queen. And that summed it up, and just the majesty and the grace and what she's brought to the world. And very much a very, very bright light has gone out, but I think it will keep shining throughout the world because what she stood for with her faith, just embracing everyone, every culture, every nation, and she transcended the world, and we're so proud and so honored to have had her as our queen for 70 years, longest reigning monarch. So I'm absolutely devastated, and having represented England, I'd go anywhere for her. She was my queen, and she led the way, and I wherever she'd wanted me in whatever capacity, I was proud to have served her. And God save the Queen, but long live the King now, as Charles the second or the third comes in. So the monarchy goes on. So, obviously, I think it was apt that the games were called off this weekend. If they hadn't been, I could understand that. It'd have been an opportunity to go and celebrate and to go and also pay our respects that way. I'd have been at the Palace United game, but, obviously, it's just been so monumental. I think it's a great time for everyone to sit down, reflect, and just slow down and see how we are as a world, how we treat each other, and just look at humanity, and maybe just look at everything she stood for and everything she brought. And when you see the pictures and you watch the TV, it's just, that's what you see, is that elegance, grace, that humility, faith, and kindness, and just a humility that transcended everything. And we all are touched by that, and I think it's a time that we all just embrace that and be nicer to each other. Look at you two sit together, and
yeah.
Because it's funny. I know that Bill Shankly once said that life's not a matter of life and death; it's much more important than that. But the truth is that sometimes we forget. Life is so important, and there's so many things that are bigger than that. However much we love football and our passion for football goes beyond, but this is one of those times that we need to sit down and reflect and just take it in, and just look at the amazing, fantastic woman, leader, stateswoman, monarch that she was. And I'm not sure we'll see the likes of her again.
No,
It's interesting because I don't know whether or not. I still don't know whether this was the right decision or not. I was on the fence about what they should do because I understood both points. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the West Ham game, you know what I mean, and how they all sang the anthem and they praised her life and all that kind of stuff. That was obviously fantastic, and obviously they got to see the games. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know whether it's the right decision or not. We just done a stream and we was talking about it, and I'm very much on the fence, and I could understand either way, whether if they wanted to play the games, if they're not. In the end, I think I probably came to the conclusion that I think that they probably should have played the games. And the only reason I say that is because I'm thinking of the fans. I'm thinking of, you get a lot of tourists at games these days, and they would have come over, and that's obviously, difficult for them. I'm thinking of freelancers. I'm thinking of content creators who people who go into the stadiums who may have thought that they had some money coming in their pocket. And I'm trying to balance it all up. And in the end, I just probably thought, they could have played the games, had a really nice or to do it whatever way you want before the game, celebrate her life, and then play the game. You know what I mean? In respect of her, but it was a very, very difficult decision to make, and I'm glad I wasn't the person to do it, because regardless of what you would have done, you would have got people criticizing. You would have got people saying it was the right thing. You would have got people saying it's the wrong thing, and it's difficult now. And I guess. I understand that maybe next weekend, if that's going to get called off. I don't think that's official yet, is it, Saeed? I don't know whether
it's not official, but I'm presuming so.
Yeah, I get that one. I get that. The thing I don't get is how the Premier League isn't being played and the football isn't played, but like rugby's being played.
Yeah.
Horse racing is back on Sunday. So again, it's not consistent. That's why I'm a bit confused about it. Why is it not like a one consistent approach? You know what I mean? All different sports are doing different things, and just a bit confusing to me, man. But everyone's got their own opinion. You got to respect opinions in it. You know what I mean? And but that's it. Games are off, man.
Why do you think it's football's maybe been singled out, John? You know what I mean? I think boxing tonight was singled out as well. But how come other sports are allowed to play and not football? Is it something different about football? Is it the fans? Is it maybe we're not maybe as respectful as a social society in England? I don't know. What is it? Because only football has been singled out.
Yeah, well, the only thing I can think of, because obviously the official statement from Buckingham Palace was they basically said, look, every one of the governing bodies, you decide. We're not going to say don't play. You have to pay respects and call off the games. But the only, football is a working man's game. It is the man on the street. It is the guys. It is the workforce. And she was a monarch for the people. And certainly football, and as you've seen, the Premier League is the biggest league in the world. And as Lewis was saying there, tourists come in. There's so many people working in and around football and covering football and all the fans. And it must have been a really difficult decision. I'm with you and Lewis in a sense where I honestly thought that even if they just cancelled the Saturday games and did maybe carried on the Sunday, Monday games, but then had another period of mourning next weekend, if that's to be the funeral, that would have worked. And again, filling the stadiums and seeing the people come out, singing God Save the Queen and the national anthem, and supporting and paying their respects that way, that would have also worked. But I think ultimately the governing bodies just think football is the biggest game, is the biggest supported, and really they just decided, look, let's just take some time out to pay respects to one of the greatest human beings that I think we'll ever see. So I can't go against that. Although if we'd have played the games, then I think we would have paid tribute to her in that way.
The other thing that's baffling for me, Saeed, bro, is like, okay, you want to cancel like the professional games, that's fine, but like they've cancelled like grassroots football. You know what I mean? Like we had people in our stream saying, "Oh yeah, like his 10-year-old girls football clubs, her football on Saturday morning, that's been cancelled as well." And I think I think that's isn't that a bit too much. You know what I mean? I get like if you want to have the professional games cancelled and that. This one, I'm trying to be balanced when I'm saying this.
Yeah.
As I say, I think it is a difficult decision, but I thought that was a bit strange. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you cancelling kids' football? You know what I mean? They go to school all week and then they want to just play a little football. The 9-year-old, they don't really understand what's going on. Let them kick a ball around on the pitch. So again, I thought that was a bit strange. But yeah, you know, like I say, I've said it from the offset on my stream. I said it on Twitter that, you know, it's an incredibly difficult choice what they had to do. And the only thing that I was really surprised at is the fact that they didn't seem to be like a proper plan. You know what I mean? You know, I thought they would have had like a plough case, like when the Queen passes, this is what we're going to do, and everyone already knows it. But we were sat there, you know, waiting around. You know, it sounds like disrespectful, someone just died, but we were sat there waiting around because we needed to know what was going to go on at the weekend. And I thought there would have been a plan from the Premier League and the FA, but yeah, I guess it is what it is. You can't change it. You just got to move on and, you know, pay your respects how you want to do that. And
no, 100%.
Well, obviously, Champions League, European games, they're still being played next week as well. So, you know, people still have a bit of football. The only other thing that I said on my stream, and I think it's important, is, you know, times are tough right now, yeah, and you know, people struggling with like energy bills, fuel prices. Like, it's costing me so much to put diesel in my car at the moment. It's mad. You know, everything seems to be going up, and football's a bit of like a get out for people. Do you know what I mean? People work all week, Monday to Friday, 9-5, grafting and that, and they get to the weekend, and you know, that football's there, a couple of hours of their time. You know what I mean? Where they can sort of forget about other stuff. And we get so many people. I said this on the stream. We get so many people, sadly and unfortunately, messaging us on social media, telling us how football and the channel and stuff helps them get through the weekend. And I'm sure, John, you'll get that through the commentaries and stuff. You'll always get people who say that, you know, what we do in football as a whole helps them get through stuff. And now obviously football this weekend, it has been postponed, and just there's a lot of pros for cancelling it. There's a lot of cons, and in the end, I was just thinking of the fans, and I think on the whole, I think the game should have been played with a 1 minute, 2 minute, whatever you want to do before the game, honour to the Queen. But like I say, the decision's been made, and we've got to obviously move on from that now, and Champions League in the middle of the week.
Just to come in, John, in terms of the fixture list now, you know what I mean? Now, I'm guessing maybe next week gets called off now. Then we have a kind of a midweek break, you know. The fixture list now, it's going to be a manic, isn't it? You know what I mean? I don't know when the next ones that are going to be played, John. Do you know? Or
no, because there's an international break as well coming up, isn't there?
Yeah.
So that's going to throw that, you know, spanner in the works, really. But I think they've got to sit down now and really look at what was already a congested fixture list, because, you know, realistically, you know, we're shutting down. I think for Palace, I think play a last home game on the 28th of October. This is Southampton at home. Then don't play till the 26th of December against Fulham at home. So, you know, I think that's 6 fixtures away, 6 fixtures at home. So these are going to have to be crammed in now. And obviously, you know, just going on what Lewis said, it's really the fans that get punished in a sense, where you got to rearrange the games, your travel, your accommodation. You know, you may not be able to come to the rearranged fixture. So, and it means so much. It's that build up all week, and people need that release. And it just means so much, and it's so intense. And the passion, it always amazes me how much it means to people, and how much it affects people's lives, and how important it is to people in so many ways. So, yeah, it's going to be disappointing. But look, I mean, if we can cope with lockdown, we can go through this. So, you know, the world's a crazy changed place, and it's yet another thing that we know we're having to deal with. But, you know, ultimately they've made the decision, so we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, in terms of for City now, obviously you had a big game this weekend, Tottenham. You know what I mean? Would you have rather got it over and done with? You know, because
I don't know. It's pretty mad. Yeah, we've only won 2 out of our last 7 against Spurs, so we've got a terrible record against them. Harry Kane and Son seriously know how to punish our defense for some reason. So I don't know. It kind of, I've done like a full spreadsheet. You know what I mean? Putting all our fixtures in and all the international breaks in, and I tell you what, right? If City get into the finals of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, which, you know, it's very possible. The way you know, done it before. We won obviously the quadruple in this country, and we got very close the year that we got to the final. We got to the final of everything bar the FA Cup when we got beat in the semi. And we get any postponements in the winter, there is very, very, very little time to play those games, because I'm looking at it now. We've got Bournemouth in February. That's on the Carabao Cup final weekend, so that'll have to be moved. We got West Ham on the day of the FA Cup quarter-final, so that'd have to be moved. And we got Brighton on the day of the FA Cup semi-final, so that'd have to be moved. That's 3 games automatically that have to be moved if we get to the later stages of that competition. You've got to find a spot for Spurs. You've got to find a spot for Wolves. Add in a few like snowstorms and games being cancelled, and I don't know where you're going to play those games. I really, really don't. It's really, really true. I just feel that, with the World Cup in the middle, I just wondered, should they not maybe have started the season even earlier than they did? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe UEFA could have got rid of, or FIFA could have got rid of 1 or 2 of the international breaks in the middle of the season. Do we really need that? I just felt like they may have just needed to think that, we just had COVID. We can see what an interruption that is. You've got a World Cup in the middle, global warming and all that. You got all the mad stuff going on next. Should they not have just thought about potentially extending the season or starting it a little bit earlier than they even did, just in case something happens? And it's going to be hectic. It's all right for you, Saeed, bro. You'll be out of all the competitions by the time it really matters.
Listen, man, we got Ten Hag now. Life's changed.
Oh, you got Ten Hag. You got beat 1-0 last night, man. Did you watch that, John? David Silva tearing it up.
Yeah, I saw some of it, and really unlucky with the penalty. Again, obviously he wanted to give Casemiro a game. Ronaldo came in, having not played, and he gave games to some of the players, and that's the weird thing. They come in a little bit cold, not up to speed, and it very much looked like that. But in the last 4 games, 4 wins on the trot. I mean, the performances against Liverpool and Arsenal especially were magnificent. And I like Ten Hag. I always thought he's going to change things around and make things happen for United and compete back in that top 4 again. And obviously with the signing, Anthony will take time to settle in. He's not quite fit, but if he's got Rashford firing, if he can get Sancho interested, I mean, it's exciting, isn't it? Eriksen, I think, is going to be one of the signings of the season. I think he's just going to get better and better. And it's what United were missing, was that creativity and that invention in midfield, someone who can get forward like he showed against Arsenal. He can play the 4, he can play the 8, he gets into positions and he can drive forward. And that unselfishness to play that square pass was unbelievable, wasn't it? But he, I think it's special now. So you just never know. I think it's going to be, because it's so unprecedented with the World Cup in the middle of the season. I think it's going to make it very special. So it's going to be very difficult to call it, but I think it's going to be fierce in that top 6. That's for sure.
Who you backing? Because obviously City are kind of the favourites for the Premier League. But who have you kind of liked the look of? Tottenham are strong. Arsenal, they only had 1 loss this season. They're performing miracles. But what have you made of Premier League so far?
Well, do you know what? I mean, the standout really is Haaland. Haaland, he's just a beast. He's a goal machine. I just love what he's about. And once the team start gelling around him, but City look that little bit vulnerable at the back. I mean, Newcastle did that, a bit of quality. There's quality everywhere. And it just shows that's why the Premier League is the best competition in the world, because it's so competitive. And obviously even Villa, weren't lying down. So City just look, and I was hoping they would. Going forward, they just look absolutely incredible, but they do look a little bit vulnerable at the back. So I think, going to draw games. Can't really see City losing games. Arsenal, Jesus has just been absolutely sensational, on fire. He's coming. I don't know. The Brazilians are all fired up for this, aren't they? The competition, even, who's the lad at PSG? You've got Vinicius Junior there at Real Madrid, and Anthony. You've got Richarlison at Spurs. They're all, fighting for it. My money's going to be on Brazil, because the Brazilians are really up for this one. But Liverpool are having a tough time at the moment. I don't know what's coming. I love the fact that Graham Potter's coming at Chelsea. I'm a big fan, deserves his chance. Surprised about Tuchel going, but someone else will pick him up. I hope he stays in the Prem. He's big, but, I think Potter's going to make Chelsea stronger. Tottenham look really strong. Arsenal look strong. So I still think Liverpool and City. I can't see beyond City to win it, but I think it's going to be a hell of a battle between the other sort of 4 or 5. To finish in that top 4. So I can't really see anyone else getting involved. Maybe not.
No, the top 4 battle, John, is going to be. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. I've said this for quite some time now, but I do think City will end up cruising the league. I think come by the end of the season, I think we'll just. I think Liverpool have they've not gone forward, have they? You know, so from last season, they've not. You know, what I mean, they've arguably gone backwards. You know, the way the midfields are joke, the defense is being questioned. You know, the front three are there. Salah's not firing as he is. City have gone forward. Okay, there's a little bit of a question mark about the defense, but we will outscore team. If we make defensive mistakes 9 times out of 10, we will outscore team. So I think City will end up cruising the league, which leaves.
The way you came back against Newcastle and the way you came back to beat Palace, you should have been 3 down, by the way, Lewis. I thought Edison. He dodged
I don't know about that.
Massive bullet there. Dude, seriously, keepers are overprotected, and he knew what. You know what? He either didn't see him there or he switched off. Edouard sticks his foot out, and you know he didn't even do anything. It was more the ball hitting his foot than anything. So,
he did it again in midweek. He did it again against Seville.
Chances, but you know the way he came back was just impressive. It's almost like you're saying, you know, you sort of get to a point where you need to go through the gears. You've got more gears than anyone else. So I just love the openness. I love the directness of the Premier League. It's almost back to that raw English style of football, that up, back and through. You've got runners going behind. You know, you've got people just playing those through balls, and we're seeing more exciting football. So I hate, you know, that bit where so many goals come from overplaying at the back and giving it away, then you score a goal. But now we're being able to create more and attacking more, create more corners, more set plays, and you know, just the way everyone's playing. Brentford are scoring tons of goals.
Yeah.
It just looks more that English style that the whole world loves watching, and it just looks so exciting. And I'm loving what the Premier League's doing at the moment, and hopefully
100%. You know what I like about now? It's just the fact that it's competitive. Like, you know, your team, Crystal Palace, nearly beat Man City, you know what I mean? And you must have been like gutted when obviously you were, you know, you were 2-0 up, and then that man Haaland just come out of nowhere and just decided to say, you know what, that's not part of the plan.
Exactly. And you know, you don't see Liverpool doing that at the moment, and you know, Spurs are looking really strong. Kane's back scoring, and you always think Chelsea, Aubameyang, can he go in there and score goals? I think he can if he's, you know, but Tuchel was his man, wasn't he? Had him at Dortmund. And now he's gone. He might not, you know, suit Potter the way he wants to play, but he's a quality player. So just loving the fact there's so many goals and it's so open in the Premier League. And it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be a hell of a battle. But, you know, Man City are sort of the one at the moment that just look at, you know, too strong.
I can ask you a question actually, John, because I during the Palace game, I think it was a Palace game when you went 2-0 up.
Yeah,
I actually said during the game that being 2-0 up, they always say 2-0 is a dangerous lead, don't they? And I said, being 2-0 up, will Palace just start to take the foot out? Now, you know, forget about the third goal for a second here. Do you know when you're a player, when you obviously you 1-0 up, you obviously know that you only 1-0 up, you've only got 1 goal lead. Would you naturally sort of, I don't want to say stop working as hard, but when you 2-0 up, because you do have that 2-goal cushion, do you then naturally think, we can sort of chill out a little bit here? And because teams are doing that against City, if you look at our past results, I think 4 or 5 out of our last 6 or 7 games, we've been 2 goals down and come back every time. I'm just wondering if opposition teams, they get 1-0 up, they're still playing 100%, get 2-0 up, then take the foot off the gas ever so slightly, and you do that against City, you're going to get punished. And I just wonder if, you know, mentally as a player, when you're playing, when you do go 2 goals up, do you naturally sit back a little bit more, or do you naturally go, all right, we got that cushion, we can chill out a little bit, or is it not something that you really think about?
Well, you try not to, but that's a brilliant, you know, the brilliant question, because I don't know why it is, but when you're at 1-0, you're at full pace and you're concentrating, you're thinking, right, you know, we don't want to concede, we're not going to concede. But when you do go 2-0 up, I don't know what happens, but psychologically you kind of just switch off a little bit and you think, oh, we've got a cushion, and we maybe just sit more defensively, invite more pressure, and stop going forward. And that's something that does happen with sort of regularity. Or you may stay on the gas and try and get that third one, and then, you know, you get hit. And at 2-0 up, you know, once you get that, they get one back, then the momentum's completely with the opposition. Yeah. And that's where, you know, you just go through the gears and keep firing forward, and then you can't recover from that, as you did against Palace. But we've been a bogey side for you in you know, the last few times. Proper. Against Spurs, I think they've won the last 4 against you in the Premier League. They did the double against you last season. So, you know, whether or not it was a good time to play them, you know, for us looking at the Man United game for Palace, I think
I can't lie.
it
I
was
was a bit 50-50 because I like Vieira. I like what he's doing.
I don't know. I think it was a good time to play United. Although you won the last 4 Premier League games, losing sort of midweek, again, I think Europe is a distraction. And again, although it's on the Sunday, I just thought going back, Salas would have been rocking.
Yeah.
But United, I mean, we beat United in the last game of the season where you didn't really turn up. There was no Ronaldo. And the team just didn't really perform. But I love what Ten Hag's doing. He's got the spirit back. And what he shows that the quality's there. They've just got to engage and put in the graft. And when they work as hard as the opposition or even harder, they're hard to stop.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, let me ask you a question, and John as well, about Europe. And I always love asking this question, right? Because if you look at United, right, and look at the top 4 race, you'd imagine Liverpool would pick up the form and they would get in the top 4. City are probably going to win the league. Arsenal, I think, have a real good opportunity to get in that top 5. I think we're a really good side. I think they have a better starting 11, and I think they're more gelled because Arteta's been longer there, and I think Tottenham will get in there. So you're looking at Ten Hag, right? And you're going, you have a legitimate way of getting into the Champions League by winning the Europa League, right? And I'm not saying disregard the Prem, but I think he's probably easiest direction. Obviously, you don't know who's going to drop into the competition from the group stages of the Champions League. But I think right now, if I'm Ten Hag, I'm looking at the squad around me and I'm thinking, they're still not here. You know what I mean? Last night proved that. Should I be looking at the Europa League as the way in to the Champions League?
League? I think I'm the opposite, man. Because I feel
you're
like
a full center top 4.
No, you're not the full center top 4. I think you've got to have the balance, but I think with the Premier League, it might just mean more because it's just kind of like next game, the relentless feeling. I think with the cup competition, different style, different tactics. Maybe a certain team can play a certain situation on that day, and I just feel like with me, bread and butter's the Premier League, and I want to get to the top 4 through the Premier League. With the Europa League, I want to win it, but I just looked at it yesterday and I thought, when you change your team around and when there's different dynamics, it could be a different outfit. And I'm just looking at the Premier League and thinking, we haven't got the squad that I thought we could. Ronaldo is not looking a striker for me. I think for me, I'm not going to lie to you, he does look a bit like his legs are gone now. And it's like almost a case of now.
It's gone, bro.
And we haven't bought a striker. And can we afford to kind of like use and put our second team on that game, when in reality some of our second team might be our first team, John? I mean, when you looked at Ronaldo yesterday, what did you think of his overall game, and should he still be at United?
Well, do you know what? I said it, obviously he wanted to leave and the team seems to play better without him. I mean, he does look leggy. He's been phenomenal. He's just an for me, I think he's the best player that has lived. Along with Messi and I love Diego Maradona and all that, but getting into that argument, these numbers don't lie. The numbers are incredible, but at the level, he's not physically able to perform in the way that United need him to be performing at that level. And the disruption has just been, an absolute drain. It really has. And you almost want it to get rid of him, because the young lads seem to thrive without him. And I think if you can get, obviously, the best out of Rashford, you've got Martial who can play up there. You've got lots of options. And Bruno Fernandes, for some reason, seems to be, more alive. And his numbers are so much better when Ronaldo doesn't play. So you've got so many options there. But he's there and they wanted to keep him. I don't know why Ten Hag does. I think they would have done any kind of deal just to get him out of there and get a settled camp and then come again January, the window, strengthen again. But United needs to be back in the top 4. But I agree with Lewis. I think your best chance of Champions League football is probably going to be winning the Europa.
I think if you get to the quarterfinals, right, of the Europa League, and there's not like because obviously you've got to look at the group of death with obviously Bayern Munich, Inter Milan and Barcelona. So one of them 3 are going to drop into the Europa League. That'll be the big challenge. But I think if you get to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, me personally, I don't think you'll be in the top 4 come the end of the season. That's why I'm raising the issue. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, if you think that you can get in the top 4, then you might not agree with me. But
I think Liverpool, we're understating Liverpool. I think, don't get me wrong, John, and you could probably look at it from a different angle. But I'm looking at Liverpool. They're not the mentality monsters that we kind of say they are. They're a bit fragile at the minute. They still need to work out their midfield balance. up front, like I said to you, Salah's not firing. Nunes is trying to sort, So again, everyone has their own problems. It's about managing them, and whoever can manage them the best is going to get in this top four and be up the ladder in terms of Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a real issue at Liverpool, and I'm not really sure what it is. Whether they're just tired, whether mentally they're drained. Van Dijk, there's a situation there. I mean, he's taken Trent Alexander and Robertson off a couple of times, and I don't know what's with Mo Salah. Obviously, he had the Cup of Nations last year. And then missing Mane. Obviously, Nunes comes in and gets sent off, and in that midfield, Harvey Elliott is bossing it. He's looking the best player in that midfield. So Henderson looks leggy. And there are real massive question marks about Liverpool. And they could really, after going for a quadruple last season, just missing out to Real Madrid and obviously missing out, winning the League Cup and the FA Cup, and then missing out by 1 point. I think it was 93-94, wasn't it, to City, which is just incredible. I don't know. That seems to have taken so much out of them. But in Klopp, I trust. I absolutely love Klopp. I think he's just such a top manager. He's going to galvanise that team. He's going to get it right. And I genuinely think they'll have a little lull. Yeah, and they'll have a spell. I mean, Liverpool, one of those teams, can have a spell and win 10, 12, 15 games. They really can. As Man City can go on these stupid runs. But the level that Man City and Liverpool have been in consistency and dominating this Premier League for the last 4 or 5 years is really quite incredible. And it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool just run out of gas, just can't reach those levels. And
it can't be easy, John, because they're being pipped to the post by City at they've only won the league once, and they've won one Champions League. They've been beaten a couple of finals, and it's not even that they're getting hammered in the Premier League. It's the constant losing the league to City by a point, losing Champions League finals. I know City haven't won one yet, but we're constantly winning Premier Leagues to keep us energized. And I agree. I think maybe the energy's gone. I think they needed to really, really shake up that team. If you look at City this summer, we've really shaken up the squad. We've let players go. Okay, some people will criticise some of the decisions if results don't go our way with Sterling and Jesus and whatnot, but we're shaking it up. I always think you have to refresh the squad. And you look at Liverpool, they've simply not done it. Look at that midfield. James Milner, 36, 37. Fabinho just come back. Harvey Elliott, whilst he's doing well, should he really be playing week in, week out? You know what I mean? He's still very fresh. Salah's not performing. Do you know what I mean? He's not performing at the level that he was a couple of years ago. And losing Sadio Mane, I think that's the killer. I think Sadio Mane was the glue, man. I know Salah might have got the better numbers, but I think Sadio Mane, for me, world class.
I preferred Sadio Mane as a player. I think, Salah gets those numbers, but he's very selfish. I don't think he does it enough for the team, whereas Sadio Mane just did more. But, with Thiago back, Luis Diaz, I love, Nunes back, they will slip into gear. They've got too many good players not to compete. But Tsimikas at left back is not Robertson. Exactly. James Milner at right back is not Trent Alexander. And, you just think they're going to have a little lull now, but they're only 5 points off City, which I think is a blessing. Arsenal will lose games. They've got a young squad. And as much as I love Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, they're youngsters, and they need, more leadership. Not sure Saka, Partey, are really going to be able to do it. I think defensively, Saliba and Gabriel are doing okay at the moment, but they could switch on. I think Arsenal, although look a shoe in for top four, I'm not sure. I think they will struggle. Chelsea, the reaction to Tuchel. So, Liverpool could obviously be the one and miss out. So, you could have City.
Someone's going to miss out. Yeah.
I think you're going to be strong. I said I thought if Ten Hag, he has got to be targeting being in and around that fourth, top four. If he can hang around and get the lads engaged again and start believing, United's such a big place, such a fortress. It's such a hard place to go. If you can make Old Trafford that fortress again, it's going to be tough. But without a doubt, you can see Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea could struggle a little bit this year, the way their teams are set up and the way, they seem to have so many problems on and off the field a little bit. And Man United could capitalise on that.
I was going to say, look at the competitiveness. Graham Potter's coming in now. Obviously, Tuchel has been sacked. I feel like with Chelsea, it's a unique club in a sense of, they don't do things off the ordinary. It's always a manic. They don't really give time to managers and whatnot. With Graham Potter, as much as I think he's a great manager, to earn the respect at Chelsea, these guys are Champions League winners. These guys have won big trophies, World Cups, you name it. Can he get the respect from the players? And I know it sounds crazy, even the fan base, when you actually look at it, because they're not a very, very patient club. They're used to sacking managers, so their mindset is right. Well, if he doesn't do well in 6 months, we'll get another manager. We're Chelsea. Do you reckon he can hold that kind of pressure?
Yeah, well, look, Ibrahimovic had his style, and he was prepared to throw incredible amount of money at it, and he did. If managers went off, they got rid of him. He paid him up. They went. The new guy came in under the remit. They spent the money. He had success. Then he left. Tuchel's come in, won the Champions League in his first season, and then they've gone and said, I am absolutely flabbergasted that they did that. And they sacked him. But Graham Potter, what he did is he's built a philosophy at Brighton. So every level in Brighton Academy play in a certain way, in the same way as the first team. So they come through with the same philosophy. And I think Tom Bowley's bought into that. And he's a different manager. He's sacked the director of football. I think all the backroom staff and all the people that used to run Chelsea are gone. And he's bringing in his own people. I think he's director of football now. He's making those decisions. And I think bringing in Graham Potter, they spent 21.5 million in compensation to bring him and 4 of his staff in. So they're given a 5-year contract, which is totally against anything that Chelsea have known, under the Abramovich rule. So it is very much a big game changer and very much experimental. And as you're saying, there is a bit of division in that squad. Your Kante's, what they still got legs. Do they still want to play? How much quality is there? Koulibaly, is he the real deal? Fofana's got to come in and settle in. The way they looked the other night against, I forget who they played.
Dynamo Zagreb.
Zagreb. And, there was just no real cohesion. I think Sterling's come in, although he's done well. I don't know if he's, and it's just really what is in Aubameyang's head, because he can be a loose cannon, but on his day, he's world class. We know that, Kai Havertz, and you're looking throughout the team, and I'm not quite sure that they've really got a team that can anywhere near challenge for the league. So I think top 4 this season would be massive for Potter. But
I think it was the correct decision, John. I thought, Tuchel, I thought that I just don't think his tactics in this Premier League, this day and age, are adequate to win the league. And the reason I say that is because draws now for Liverpool and City, they feel like losses. You can't afford to draw games. And I think just like Conte will at Spurs, I just think they're too negative, and I think that they just won't be able to win the league. And I think they're all right in cup competition. When he first came into the league, I said Chelsea can go on and win the league and the Champions League, and they ended up going on and beating us. I think this move from Bowler, the only thing that I'm surprised at is I think he should have done it in the summer, because you've spent all this money. I assume that these are Ted Bowley purchases and not Tuchel purchases. And I just think you knew what you was getting from Tuchel. You knew that he'd draw a few games. You knew that he'd lose 1-0 because the way he plays. And why didn't you just do it in the summer? That's the only thing I'm really surprised about. And other than that, it's like you say, it's a massive, massive change to go and get Graham Potter. He was probably the big, fresh face that we've got in the Premier League, playing good football. But you've got to give him time. He's been. I think he'd won a few trophies, didn't he, abroad somewhere? But he's been at Brighton. He's got a completely different type of club now. And if you expect him to go in there and start ripping it up from day one, then it's just complete waste of money.
Is this another Moyes? Is it another Moyes, you reckon? Because people are saying
it's not another Moyes, Matt. No, it's not another Moyes, because I think the way he plays football, is going to suit that type of club when they get the type of players that he'll need. I think Moyes was. I don't know. I think Moyes is a very, very good manager at that level. At the sort of Everton, at the West Ham. With all due respect, I think when you go up that next level, that next jump, I think you need something more, man.
It's a massive gamble. So it's a massive gamble for Chelsea. I thought Potter was like a Newcastle, maybe go to an Everton, then bounce on to a big club. to go straight into Chelsea is huge. I mean, you're under massive pressure from day one. You know, the squad is still, you know, it's evolving. As you say, Tom Bowley's obviously gone and bought players. They've spent, what, 250 million. They've got money in the bank. I think the way it's worked out for them, I think, is a bit. It's left a bit of taste in my mouth how they've sold the club, bought Ibrahimovic out, ended up, you know, with a clean slate and £1 billion in the bank, at least, you know, whereas United have got, you know, obviously still got the debts and the issue in the background with the owners, which is criminal, really, and that's really strangled and killed United for so long. And it's amazing, really, how well United have done just in that, you know, to be able to have spent the money that they have, which is what the money they generated. It just shows the power that United will have once they get a good whole footing and get the right man in behind it with a few quid. It's going to be scary. So there's no doubt United will be back. It's just a matter of time. But for Chelsea now, they're in a very, you know, it's going to be an interesting period to see how Potter does and if they're going to be patient, because I don't think it's going to be straightforward and easy for him to go and implement.
They have to be patient, though, don't they, John? Because there's no this. It's absolutely ridiculous. If Chelsea think they're getting a Brighton manager, who I don't think has ever managed in the Champions League unless he's done it at a former club when he was winning titles.
He was in the Europa League with Ostersons.
Yeah, if they think he's going to come in and just tear it up straight away, they're idiots. They need to give him at least a year. They need to give him this year as just a complete pass and say, right, let's see see an improvement in the style of play, and then we'll judge you next year. You can't be doing this. You know, it's the same with Moyes. I mean,
he doesn't get sacked if he don't make top four. He doesn't get sacked.
I think the biggest thing for Graham Potter and the what we don't know and the unknown is he's obviously a great tactician. Yeah, you know, he's great at getting the lads to play good football. He's obviously a very good manager, but can he manage the big personalities? Can he manage Aubameyang, Kante? Do you know what I mean? Kai Havertz, and you know, Sterling's obviously reeling from having, you know, reading between the lines. He was pushed out, still a bit disappointed. He left City, and he's coming there trying to find his position. But you've got all these lads in there, your Ziyech, you know, your Mason Mounts, you know, Conor Gallagher, all these youngsters, Reece James, they're young, and Cucurella's come in, and I think Chilwell, I don't think they needed him. So I really don't know. There's a melting pot, and it's a big situation at Chelsea, and he's going to have to go and manage big characters, which is something we're not sure. I mean, the way Pep does it is just absolutely incredible. He balances it. Klopp has been magnificent. I thought Tuchel could be someone that could do that. And again, Conte, you feel as though he's got the attention of the players at the moment, but that could always blow up, just like that incident we saw with Tuchel.
Yeah, with the handshake.
You know what? You know that powder keg's there, and I feel sorry because I really did think Tuchel was the real deal, but somehow I think he had personal problems. I don't know if he got divorced, and you know the smile went, and he was clashing. And even the beginning of the season where Tom Bowley wanted Ronaldo, and you know Tuchel was like, no, I want him. That seems to be where they really fell out of bed, is who they wanted, and so the ideology was never quite right. The balance wasn't quite right, but I think someone's going to get a hell of a manager in Tuchel. I still think he's right up there, but somehow the smile went. But interested to see what happens with Potter, because I think he's a future England manager personally. He's right up there ahead of the queue for me. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see how Gerrard does. He's under pressure. Lampard's under pressure. They've got to win games. You know, the pupils elect. But it's so interesting. I think that this Premier League is as competitive as I've seen it for a long time. Okay, Forest and Bournemouth could get hammered, but the rest of it is really competitive, because I thought Southampton, could they struggle? You know, Leicester will be okay. I think they've got a good squad. It looks, you know, they've got their issues, but they've got a good enough squad. So, you know, Newcastle are getting stronger. West Ham are strong. I just can see a lot of people, you know, the big boys dropping points this season.
Well, your club, you know what I mean, Crystal Palace. Got a question here from Avik. He says, thoughts on Crystal Palace now and how Vieira is working with the talented kids. As you see, you know, I mean, former City player as well. So, Lewis, you come in as well after John. But John, Crystal Palace, like I said, I think they should have got more points on board in certain games. I think they could have got more points. But in terms of the style of play and how Vieira's come in, are you impressed? Obviously, we spoke of the end towards last season, and we talk about, you know, how well of a job he's done there. But are you impressed by Vieira and the job he's done at Crystal Palace?
Absolutely amazing. It was incredible. And, you know, I say that, you know, when we were looking for a new manager to replace Roy Hodgson, and top of my list was Eddie Howe. I sort of looked at managers like that, and to be honest, Vieira never really came into the conversation. Wasn't sure he's ready, and from the things you were hearing, you just didn't quite maybe suit the way Palace play and what we needed. But he's come in, he's so calm, and I think he's brought a philosophy and an understanding and a unity within the players. Love playing for him. He plays it very simple, but obviously Gay and Anderson have come in, and they're the linchpin for him. He wants them to play out the back. He wants them to want the ball. And although he made a few mistakes early on, they've been brave enough to play. Probably need a right back, Joel Ward and Nathaniel Klein at the moment.
Why do you get Wan-Bissaka? We
I
offered him to you.
thought he could bring one back. Aaron back to the club. Again, we sold Wilfred for a lot of money, brought him back for almost half or a third of what he went for. Bissaka went for 50 million. I didn't really ever think he was a United class player.
I did say that.
He'd be great at Palace. He's got a great turn of pace. Tyreek Mitchell has come in and flourished. Obviously, Gay, Tyreek, and Connor. They got their England caps and they've broken through. So they love him playing for him. We just got a little question mark in midfield. Milivojevic is getting older now. He sort of schlups playing in there. It's a big season for Eze.
Quality player.
And really trying to work out how to get, Zaha has started the season on fire. I think Chelsea might have come in with a cheeky little bid at the end of the window there, but we're always going to keep hold of him because Wilfred's pivotal to everything that happens there. Elise is an absolute superstar, but still learning his trade. And the one thing that I think Patrick needed to find, and I want him to find, we played Brentford recently, and I saw, Mbeumo and Wissa and Tony. And Tony's so clever, and he's a brilliant player, and he's a target man. We don't have a target man. We don't have a linchpin man that can run, can bully defenders, can get it into feet, can link up play and go and score goals. We haven't got that. And we haven't got that pace that upsets teams. Edouard, Mateta, AU, very similar. Good lads, good attitudes, but just not quite good enough at the all-round game, and someone who's going to go and got 15, 16 goals and be that target man and then stretch them if we need to, because, Wilfred's had to be that man at times. So it's interesting. The first game against Arsenal, Arsenal came with a great attitude, 6 out of 6 in pre-season, flying. They came out, first 20 minutes, attitude was great. Jesus was phenomenal. And really, you set your stall out and win the game. And second half, Edouard had a great chance just before halftime. Eze has a great chance second half and could have been 2-2, but it could have easily been 3-2 to Arsenal. So deserved that.
Yeah.
We go away to a Liverpool, and away from home has been going to this back 3, back 5, flood the midfield, 5-4-1, and play Wilfred as that lone man. And he's asking Wilfred to open his legs up and go the other way and cause problems, which he's done brilliantly. And he's scored some fantastic. The goal at Liverpool, you question Van Dijk, but Van Dijk came a long way and then just didn't engage. And a great shot. But, he's had this philosophy. As I say, the team is playing in sophisticated, intelligent ways. And the lads have bought into that and they understand that, which is what's special about Vieira, because it's really getting the players to understand the way you want to play and adapt to different games and different philosophies. And that's very hard. So he works very hard on the training ground to make sure the lads understand the way he wants to play in the different tactical setups for each game. And it's great the lads are buying into it, but Palace are at that limit where they haven't got the quality, so it's always going to hold them back. But they're doing a fantastic job. To have played Liverpool, City, the great win against Villa, I thought that was the most complete performance I'd seen by the team, and it was fantastic against a good Villa side. I think the stick that Gerrard's getting, I think he's very close to getting that right there again. Brentford, we got away with one big time because Brentford were fantastic. And, there are just no easy games. And unless you're at full tilt and on it and really, you're not going to get points. So, the United game would have been massive. Yeah. 3 points in the Premier League is so precious, but you've got to make your home form. That's where you got to get your points. Because going away, Newcastle got away with one. Newcastle should have won. Take a point there all day. That decision for Tyreek Mitchell. It was no goal. Obviously, he pushes yeah, he pushes a lad into Guita, and it should never have been. I think it was Iwobi into Guita. It should never have been chalked off. So, you know, a bit of luck, but the team's playing well enough to have so much excitement and confidence in the boys, and hopefully, you know, can win a few games early. We've got a nice little spell coming up where we're playing sort of Forest, playing Southampton. You know, games at home that where you need to pick up the points. For me, it's always there's two leagues. There's that bottom half. I've got 10 teams where I'm thinking this is our bread and butter. This is where we get our points. And then you've got 10 teams that you think, oh, do you know what? On their day they're going to smash us. But
then you've got 3 or 4 that you could probably get a result out of.
We can go and upset them, like the draw at Liverpool. You know, wow, I'd have taken a draw at City. You know, again, I probably would have taken a point against United on Sunday. But you know, you just hope United are off and you're at your best and you can get a result. So, but you know, it's all so exciting. I'm loving everything I'm seeing.
It's exciting, you know. That's what I love it. You know what I mean, Lewis? I don't know if you're loving this Premier League, but it's mad exciting, isn't it? Like this year. I don't know. I feel like the quality's gone up.
The quality in this league is an absolute joke. I mean, look at the bottom. I know it's only 6 games in, but Leicester City are bottom of our league. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the quality that's in this. I know it's only played 6 games. Look at the money Forest are throwing around. They're not 19th. West Ham finished, 7th, 8th last year in the relegation zone. I know it's early days, but the fact is the quality there. I mean, if you was to take the worst side, worst team in the division, probably you'd expect Bournemouth maybe to get relegated and finish bottom of the league come the end of the year. They've still got talent. They've still got talent in that league, in that team. It's just it's my every single game that you play in the Premier League is tough. Yeah, I mean, I'm a City fan. I ain't ever turning up for a game and going, this will be easy. All right, sometimes you know people who watch the channel, I might give like a big prediction, like a 4-5-6-0, but. I mean, it's very rare that you'll turn up at a game and you'll have to play in first gear. Now, I mean, you have to turn up every single time, especially if you go, all right, you might not have to if you're playing like, you know, the bottom 3. But if you play a team like Palace, Everton, Villa, Newcastle, Southampton, if you don't turn up, that's it, done.
No, 100%. And this is why we love the Premier League. And obviously, we're going to have to take a little bit of a break, you know what I mean? I'm guessing it'll be international break, you know, by the time we come back, and then it's a Manchester derby. I mean, I don't know which team wants it. Like, we could possibly go there and win, but then Man City.
No, you won't, bro. You won't, bro.
Nah, we will.
You'll get schooled. You'll get schooled. You won a game.
We've got a good record, man. We've got a good record.
You've won a game, and all of a sudden you can go there and get a result.
We've won 2 of the last 3.
What are you talking about history for? Talk about the fact, the present. Yeah, you'll get smashed, mate. You'll get. I'm sorry. The way that Erling Haaland, mate, will tear your defense apart. He will.
Well, you know what? He's on the streets of Manchester. I don't know if you've seen him.
I did see it. Yeah, just walking about, innit? As it should be, by the way. People should just be able to walk around the place and not get hassled. You know what I mean?
He's just such a legend, isn't he? He's just such a legend. I just love him. He's got a great attitude. He's got a great personality, great persona. You know, he's just such a lovely guy. I think that the connection with his dad being at City and the fact that, you know, he's been on this ladder. He knew he wanted to come to City. He's so confident. He's got everything. I love that lad. I'm looking forward to seeing him up against Martinez.
That'll be a good one, you know, because
play up against the defense, but you know, he can run behind, he can come short, he can get it into feet, you know, he can score headers. But
how many goals
he's just a goal machine. You know,
I think he's on 12 goals already.
Yeah, 10 10 Premier League goals. I think he's going to smash all the records. I mean, I think what is the I think the top goal record for the Premier League, I think it's something like 32 or 34.
It goes, there's the asterisks for, I think Shearer did it when there was 40 odd games. I think he got 35, but there was 42 games then.
But you know, you just see him scoring goals.
He's already on 10. He's on 10 already in 6 games. And the thing is, as well, John, he will score probably another 2 or 3 hat tricks in the season. Now, if he gets 3, quick maths, that's 9. He's already on 19 goals. Because he will do that. He will score another couple of hat tricks this season. Absolutely no doubt about it. Do you know what I mean?
It's the desire. And, you know, in his brain, he is just saying, I am going to score goals. I love the intelligence. You talk about the intelligence of he knows where to be and how to play against teams. and his movement is sensational.
It's
and we were always
insane.
wondering, Nunes 85 million, you know, Benfica, you know, comes and gets sent off, and you know, again in the Community Shield against City, I thought Nunes looked fantastic. And I was really excited about watching him play. And I thought, wow, okay, this boy could be the real deal. So a lot of pressure on young shoulders. But Haaland just doesn't look like a 22-year-old, does he? He looks like a proper mature 28-year-old striker.
Yeah.
You know, he's just, I mean, he is just scarily calm, confident, and intelligent. And he's got everything. What is he, 6'6", 6'5"? You know, the physicality.
He's a tall lad, yeah.
2 feet. He can head. I just think, obviously, you know, Grealish is not playing at the moment, but once Foden, I mean, De Bruyne is just ridiculous.
De Bruyne is ridiculous. Honestly,
He's
that
ridiculous.
goal. Oh my God.
Nuts. I mean, I just love him. He's just been the best player. You know, he's you know, his intelligence and his quality.
It's his movement, John. You said it there, and his movement is absolutely unreal. I mean, after the Community Shield, you know, I mean, he missed that big chance at the end, and he started laughing. And I remember Rooney and Owen, they said that movement that they saw in that game was something else. And I'm watching him. He only touches the ball like 10, 12 times a game. That's it.
Because he's not interested, but he's thinking, where can I run? Where can I get into the goal against West Ham? The movement, but what was scary is because the movement was fantastic, but then he's got that pace.
I know.
He's gone. Because I used to think one of the things, the two things I don't really see enough of that I would love is the old good old-fashioned wing play. You know, the old get down, get crosses in and score goals. But also the pace and then to run beyond, to start getting beyond, because that's the Premier League. That's what we're about. Is seeing players, you know, for me, you know, it was scary watch, you know, you play against Kanchelskis or Giggs, and you know, my job when I played, you know, I had to double up on the fullback to stop the wingers getting, you know, and you know, you said, but you had strikers who could run the pace. And for the last few years, you haven't really seen that. You haven't seen what Henry used to do to players, to what Dwight York and Andy Cole used to do to players, and just get into positions and get beyond and score goals. So it just looks more complete. It just looks more.
I know.
We love about football, that up, back and through, I call it. And because you can't defend it if you do it well. And it's exciting to watch and go and see the different styles of goals rather than that, overplay at the back, give it away, score a goal. You know, it's like, give us a break.
Yeah, crazy.
Let's go and see some excitement.
Well, we'll see. But listen, people, we're going to wrap it up here. John, it's been a pleasure for you to come on the MANC Talk. And thanks for coming on. I appreciate your time and your, you know, I know you're a busy man. So, yeah, thanks for coming on the MANC Talk.
Absolute pleasure. Do you know, I love talking about football and, you know, wish you guys well. It's great to see United back competing, although they were the bane of my career. And it's brilliant to see City. I'm sure. Would you, just quick one, Lewis, would you swap winning the Premier League for the big one, the Champions League this year?
It's a good question, that, John. Yeah, but well, you know what I always say Premier League's the bread and butter. I don't watch 38 games in a season not to win a trophy. So yeah, I always go Premier League.
You can only win what do you want to win? I know what Pep wants to win.
For me, it'd be the Premier League, John, because I don't watch 38 football matches not to win a trophy at the end of the season. That's it. I know people won't get that, but that's it. You know what I mean?
Hey,
there's also an element of luck in the Champions League. The best team doesn't always win it. The best team always wins the league. So yeah, man, league. But I would like to win it at some point. We've been in it a decade. Do you know what I mean?
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
No, anytime, man. Anytime. Lewis, thanks for coming on as well. Big up to City Extra. Make sure you guys subscribe to their channel. And yeah, man, big up to everybody who's watched the MANC Talk. We'll be back next week, people, in our studio. But thanks for watching. Like the video on your way out.
Save the Queen.
So yeah, there you go, people. Make sure you go do that, and also make sure you have the rest of your evening. Stay sane, and we'll be back hopefully soon. Take care. Bye bye. Peace.